Aloha, Daniel Molina here. Another podcast. Today you're in for a treat. I am partners with these guys. We just opened up a local store here called Blended Hawaii, and if you heard about it, you know how good the sorbets are. But before we go there, I want to talk about their stories because they're local boys, Kanaka, born and raised, and they had a lot of things in life that they faced, and they overcame from, one West Side, Honolulu Valley, to the point where now they're entrepreneurs owning their own business here in Hawaii, and you know how hard that is. And so we're going to dive in deep into that story today. And so let me introduce you to our awesome guests. We got Michael Malala and we got Anthony Clemente. How you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
Oh, aloha. We always joke around, so hopefully we'll be serious this time.
Yeah, try our best.
So, man, guys, thank you so much for joining. I know we work together. We do stuff on the daily. We opened up this brick and mortar. You guys did the market for a while, and then we joined forces and said, hey, let's take this to next level,
yeah.
right? But before we go there, we'll start with you, Anthony. I want to talk about born and raised in like 3 minutes. Tell me where you're born, raised, and then kind of a little bit of your upbringing. I know we talked about, a little difficult West Side. So tell me a little bit about that.
Basically, grew up on the West Side with all my.
So is West Side best side? Because the East Side,
West Side's
people
always
say,
the best side. The West Side's always the best side. You know what I mean? It'll never change.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the season. That's it. But I basically grew up with all my dad's siblings and cousins and stuff, and grew up in a 6-bedroom house in Makakilo, all living together, all our cousins running around, aunties. So you'd see like their problems, this problem, that problem, and then I remember a couple of times like sleeping on the ground and like I just hear the rats getting caught in the traps. And I'm like, oh, geez, like what? That's crazy. But from there, moved to my parents saved up enough money to move us out and to Pro City, and then that's where I went to high school, Pro City High School.
Okay.
That's the best too.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
The new best.
The new best. Yeah, Central. But then I went to college for a little while in Oregon, and then came back home, and then that's where we all met. That's where the story takes place.
Right on. And so what was some of your challenges just kind of growing up on the West Side a little bit and then transitioning to Pro City?
Basically, everybody's like typical like back then. Nowadays too, I feel like it was hard just to be yourself. Like you'd always have to put kind of a shield on growing up in those places because it's not the nicest. It's not Kailua, it's not the nicest area to be walking around or you learn real fast.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be wearing big gold chains, talking about this or that, or when your parents are gone because stuff can happen, like you learn that very young and you just see things. I guess that helped me out too because I seen stuff early on than having to learn that when I got older.
So you had to become street smart really fast.
Yeah, street smart, and then you got to learn how to read the room. Most important thing I feel like what a lot of these young kids are missing is like they don't know how to read the room, and that's what I learned very fast. Like, oh, there's a problem over there with these two people. That's between them two. Don't intervene. Don't get in the way. Don't try to be the hero unless for some reason like the guy hits the girl or some kind of
right.
some kind of violence like that breaks in, you can try your best,
Right.
But other than that, like just put your head down and go, be humble.
Yeah.
Stay out of the way.
Catch some cracks.
Yeah, catch some cracks, or you might end up realizing a hidden talent you might not even know you had.
Right.
That's
true.
That's it.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
And it's funny because all of us like jiu-jitsu, we like a fight, right? And
Yeah.
so we kind of have that background in common. Michael, tell me a little bit about your story, man. I know it, but the listeners don't know it. So tell me.
Yeah, my dad grew up in Palolo housing. Shout out Palolo. My mom went to Kahala. Weird tale of how they met and all that. But born here. Stayed here, went to preschool, first grade, and then my mom and dad divorced, moved to the mainland with my mom. She remarried, and we were up in Seattle. And then I used to spend my summers here in Hawaii. My uncle had one of the surf shacks on Waikiki, so I used to go put out boards early in the morning, go crash out and put them away in the evening. And then, Washington was interesting, big change from Hawaii, but kind of same.
Especially because over there, it always rains.
It is, it's gray. So it's a little, the sky's a little different mostly.
Yeah.
But same kind of story. I was fortunate my mom met somebody. We moved in with their family. I think it's kind of crazy. I was counting the other day. I think there were 16 of us in a 2-story, 4-bedroom house.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there was a lot of us. Luckily, there was my two cousins were about my age, boys, but the rest were all girls. So it was like 3 boys, and the rest was all girls. So we ended up being the protectors and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it kind of helped because we had like our own little crew. Like we didn't need much from friends along the way because we were literally sports, eating, playing, fighting, whatever it was all together. And then if anybody messed with one of us, we already had a whole crew. So after all that, I graduated high school up there. As soon as I graduated, I came back. Went to Hilo for a little bit. Ended up playing some football with the boys at UH. You know, back in the day when we were pretty good back then. You know, Timmy, you can do this. Turn it around, Timmy. But yeah, you know, I think just growing up in, you know, 3 generations in one home around, you know, just family, you go through it thick and thin. You learn that kind of early.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you get friends down the line, real friends, you kind of hanai them or take them on, and you get the same.
Same bond.
Yeah.
See what you're saying?
Yeah, that's awesome. So Hawaii obviously was in your heart until you came back, and then pursued finishing college.
Yep. Finished college, psychology degree. As soon as I graduated, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, now I have a degree. What do I do?
Yeah.
And literally, I looked it up and I was like, all right, psychology, what am I going to do? I'm like, guidance counselor, 50K. I'm like, what? Like,
Right.
So then literally my uncle called me up one day, get your behind down to the operators union, the union hall, sign up. He's like, you have $200? I was like, I think so. He's like, bring it with you, pay your stuff. And the next day I was working Hawaiian dredging, making $30-something an hour. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to be a guidance
Yeah,
counselor.
no way.
So yeah, I lived that life for, you know, 7-8 years. You know, just the typical grind with overtime, you know, construction, just trying to save some money. You know, it's expensive here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, when you look at that $50,000 salary, you're like, that can't
No way.
pay anything here in Hawaii.
No.
And so, Anthony, so let's go back to your upbringing, especially, you know, West Side and then Pearl City even, right? I remember growing up, we lived in AMR, so we would go to Pearl Ridge Mall all the time. And so definitely understand that part of it.
Yeah. Hey, that was voted number 3 worst places to find romance. I don't know.
Random fact.
That was random fact. Yeah, that was random fact. But yeah, basically graduated from Pearl City. I was still a goofball as a kid. Like I would always make jokes, like how we do. But eventually, like I had to kind of grow up. So I wanted to get out, like just to leave my family and my friends, just to like start fresh and do my own thing. And so I got a one-way, saved up as much money as I can, worked at the Teepers Union, and then I saved up as much money as I could, and I left. One-way ticket, went to Vegas, 3 months, all my money gone. Not a good idea. So I had to like kind of brainstorm and see where I could, like, I don't want to go back home. So I made my mom and my dad like help me out with the FAFSA and like see like what they could help me out with. So eventually I got to walk on at Southwestern.
Oh wow.
Oregon, Southwestern Oregon Community College, and they had a wrestling team. So I tried out for the wrestling team, got in, boom, 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 blah, 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 whatever happened. Almost finished to transfer to finish my to be a dietitian. Then being a local boy away from home, living it, you get in trouble. And one of the times you do get in trouble, it's you lose everything.
Yeah.
And lost everything. And then I came back home, basically.
So one thing that was common with both of you guys is the union. Like, is that like a common thing here in Hawaii where everyone just joins the union because it's just better money? Like, what do you feel like? Not that the union is bad, because there's definitely good work in that, right? But why is that? It seems to be like the only option if you want to stay here.
Well, it's just I guess Hawaii being a union state, you're kind of taken care of. Like, you know, if you want to be private and do your own thing and hustle that way, you can, but you're always going to be hustling, trying to find the next job, fighting wages compared to other people. You know, we have some influences coming from, you know, foreign people coming over and starting their own companies, lowballing, undercutting private companies, right? But if you go union, you're set. You're made in the shade. You can cruise. You can wait for that overtime to kick in and start working. It's kind of one of those things. You set benefits, vacation, the best benefits you can get, health benefits. It's just everybody in this island is related to somebody who's in construction one way or another.
Right.
And it's like, it's not what you know, the classic saying, it's who you know.
Yep.
And by chance, everybody on this island that grew up here, have family here, they know somebody in the union, so they can easily get that person in the union. It's not like, oh, after high school I'm gonna go military, which I did try, but that's a whole nother story. Well, basically, like after high school, you can like either work in the union or go to college. But if you go to college, how are you gonna pay for all that stuff, man? Like they don't teach us this in high school. They don't teach us how to save, how to do your taxes. Like what, I didn't even know what a FAFSA was until like a couple of my friends were telling me like, bro, you can just apply for your FAFSA. Like, what is that? Like, I have no idea what that is. You know, like all these grants, these loans. I thought that was a myth, to be honest. Like, I didn't know college was even a thing.
Yeah.
You know, like how?
Do you feel, and obviously this is probably controversial, but it's facts, right? And I can have an opinion about the facts. You know, if I have an emotional response to the facts, it's different.
Yeah.
But facts is that Hawaii, out of all 50 states, is the worst in academics. And so because of that fact, like, did it leave you guys frustrated? Obviously you went to school in the mainland. That's why you're a little smarter than us. But for us who kind of had our foundations here in Hawaii, when I went to Texas, when I left to Texas and I went to their it was Plano School District. And at the time, it was before your time. I think 90210 was out. And that was like Beverly Hills, whatever, right? And that was like the best. It was like I went to college, bro. When I left here and I went to mainland school, I was like, this is college. Because I don't remember doing homework here. I don't remember doing anything. And so did you feel like Hawaii has done a disservice to the Kanakas, the locals, whoever moved here from the military? Do you feel like we've done a disservice to our people to provide good education so that we're not struggling after high school? Speak into that a little bit.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, from growing up through the system, like my friends, like they're on like the reduced lunch. Some even get free. Like, you got to help everybody out. It's like, why all of a sudden, like now they're trying to still build infrastructures when they can't even get the school system down? Like, we have people that have so much, they have good talent, man. Hawaii has one of the best talent I've ever seen when it comes to sports, singing, acting. Like, there's so much talent here, but education, like, they either drop out of school because they can't afford it. They get stuck on the same bad habits that they're brought up in, like they're nurtured in, or they just fall into the trap of the system. You know, like I feel like the Hawaii government does not put a very indefinite solution to solving the education for local Hawaiians, like local people. Like they don't focus on that when that's the key. You focus on the community and everything else will come.
That's right.
If you, like in business, right? Like if you make something for the locals, the tourists will come eventually.
Right.
But if you focus so much entirely on the tourists, then you're going to lose the locals and everything else along the way, because they're building something that, or they're supposed to be building an education system for the locals, but they're not educating the locals. They're educating the people that have the money to buy and do business in Hawaii more than they are trying to help the local people be successful in their own state. It's crazy.
One thing that I remember talking to Paele, he said that people come to Hawaii because of the people. But when you don't take care of the people and the people are gone, then Hawaii no longer becomes special, because all the people that made Hawaii special are all gone.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you focus on the community, you focus on the Aina, and you take care of the Aina, you take care of the people, then people will continue to come because they like the people.
They like the people.
Right? What do you think, Michael?
I think nationally that we're doing a disservice to the public school education. But in Hawaii, it's, I guess, multiplied because of the difference of private and public. Right? So
That's true.
eventually,
That's true.
if you just dump the bottom of the barrel in public school, people are going to work hard for their kids to get grants or to work 3 jobs to send them to the private school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
so it's like a
basically.
messed up system. It's like, well, let's not fix the public school, and those who want to go. But those who want to make it, they can work harder, pay more taxes, and then go to these private schools and make these guys money because we have a relationship over these how many years. So I'll say that. I think it's set up wrong where they don't need to fix the public schools because people who I'm not going to say care enough, but people who are willing to work those 3 jobs to get their kids a better education,
Yeah, yeah.
they're going to try their hardest to get them into private schools, whether it be through sports or grants or even working at schools. I know somebody, they were a janitor, and when you work with a private school, your kid gets free education.
That's a good deal.
So imagine being, hey, that's a hack out there, anybody. If you want to say you have 3 kids, right? If you're a janitor, that's how many, what Puno is almost 30 grand a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So imagine
semester.
Imagine saving all that money just being a janitor.
Wow. Yeah.
Nothing wrong against janitors, it's a living.
Right. No,
But
right.
you're also working the system that's trying to work you.
But it's like, yeah, right. But it leaves the families here in Hawaii frustrated because they're getting taxed out the yin yang, and
Yes.
they're thinking, well, if my taxes are, what is my taxes taken care of? Okay, the roads, I get it. Police force, I get that. But shouldn't take care of my school where I should at least get good education. It's not that our teachers, and this is not a throwing stones on our teachers.
Yeah.
No.
It's just that they don't have the tools that they need to do their
Tools,
job. Or they have
motivation.
way too many students per classroom, so they have to dumb it down because they can't, spend the attention they need when they right. And so I feel like if our teachers have better pay, right, maybe have better talent out there. Maybe there is better talent. Maybe there is local teachers that left to the mainland because they got paid more.
Probably.
Right.
Way more.
And so the people who are here is like, you know what? If you want status quo and you're going to pay me status quo, then that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like private school is the answer to help educate the local community. But like you said, not everyone can afford that.
Most people can't afford it.
Most, right, exactly. I would say 90% of people cannot afford that, and so you're brought up in the academics here in Hawaii, and so tell me more about like the culture here in Hawaii. It's also a little scrappy, right? We growing up here, you got it was so many fights. A lot of people on social media right now saying, oh, all these fights are breaking out of nowhere. I was like, nah, bro, that's always been. It's just that now we're filming it,
Yeah.
so it looks like it's everywhere.
Everybody has a camera now.
Everyone has a camera, right? And so it's always been that way. So how did you get out of this culture here in Hawaii of like being scrappy, guys kind of getting into trouble, and so you know what? I want to I see the future. I see other guys in their 20s and 30s not doing anything, right? I don't want to be that. So what made you change that path?
Basically, like, to be honest, like only a couple of years ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I really did like look at myself and look at all my friends. So honestly, you gotta look at your friends. You have to look at who you hang out with, what situations they get you in, and will it help you in the future, or will it just deter you to be bottom of the barrel and get you back into the same cycle? And I looked at that and I was like, I can't fall back in the same cycle and end up dead. Like,
Yeah.
a funny incident happened like a couple years ago. We were at this after hour spot in town, and my friends and whatever, these guys were going into it, and next thing you know, I get the biggest guy. I get like this big solid guy, at least like almost 300 pounds. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, bro, there's no way this guy's gonna try scrap me. Like I'm my height, like 5'7", short, 130, 140 maybe. I don't know what I was pushing, but bro, I was thinking, no way, bro. Cause there's so much, my friends are all big, and then this guy was the biggest, and he ended up just mouthing off to me. And then next thing you know, all I remember is, boom, I apparently I went down and I came right back up because my cardio was good at the time. Boom. And all you hear were the girls screaming, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And then I was like, "What happened?" And another tita, like another big sole, was like, "You got knocked out." And I was like, "What in the world just happened?" Like, I wasn't even involved. Like, and then I was just like, bro, anything could happen. Like, people are not on the same like wavelength as you, or like same kind of grip on reality. Like, you don't do that to a little. I'm not saying I'm a little guy, but like,
No.
why would you do that, bro? Like, he sideblinded me, and then I was just like stunned. Like, oh, dude, what if I hit my head? Like, what if something else happened? What if a car came boom and then I got ran over?
Right.
You know. So I was just like, no.
So that was the reality check for you at that point.
Yeah, and stuff like that kept happening, and then but that incident, because my jaw was always like kind of, I because I used to train too a little bit, and then I used to spar, and then when we spar, like little checks and little like jabs would kind of get my jaw ringing, and then what he did on accident or by divine intervention, bro, he fixed my jaw.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like so I don't.
Oh,
get,
let's go to a street fight. Got jacked up straw. Fix it.
yeah, he fixed my jaw, and I was like, oh, okay, that's God telling me, the universe telling me like, hey, you're done. I fixed it. You want to mess it up again? Go ahead, but I fixed it. So I was like, you know what? I'll take that as a sign.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be around that. So no, I just leave. Like my friends go, no, I just leave because it's not worth it, man.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm gonna throw my brother under the bus a little bit, but he grew up here too, and he was scrapping with everybody here, and he actually got in trouble from breaking someone's jaw. Just fighting. That's it's just what happens here. You want to talk trash, then all right, let's talk trash. But I remember he brought that to the mainland, and every time we play basketball, and he's a little guy, he's a $150 maybe, small guy, but he's freaking strong, captain of the football team here, and when he played for Radford, small buck guy, and but he doesn't play. And so so the big guys want to pick on him and think they can handle him. So I remember every time we play basketball, he wants to fight somebody, not because he's picking it, but because guys pick on them, right? And I don't know why these big guys always want to pick on some small guy, and then these guys regretted it because my brother will throw down, oh, let's go, and he'll body slam them, and I'm like, come on, Tony, they got their brothers in here, they're gonna fight us and whatever. So my point is like he had to also realize like, okay, like, I could defend myself now, but it might be a point where I can't. And now, obviously, this was before he had kids. He was married, and so at some point, he even had to change his mind and said, you know what, I don't want to be like this anymore because it could lead me, like you said, it could lead you the wrong way. And I learned that from him. I learned a lot from my brother, and he taught me a lot. Like, hey, you got to choose. Like, what do you want to fight? What do you got to show up? And now that we're both proficient in martial arts, now we can throw hands and we can protect ourselves, but there's always someone bigger. There's always someone badder.
Train longer,
right? And so you want to put your puff, be all prideful now. All right, cool. You want to walk in that pride. You're gonna get a humble pie.
Yeah.
Right. And so I love that you kind of took that because you fought tons times. I'm sure you won tons time, but that one time it was just like some guy just took you out, and then like you were even in it. And you got
I wasn't even. It was between my other friend, and that was like a weird situation. Like it was late. It was after our spot, obviously, and it was just one of those things where I'm glad it didn't get any worse.
So then you change. You know what? I'm gonna stop hanging out with these friends because when 2 + 2 = 4, when I hang out with these friends at this place, this happens, right?
Yeah.
And so that's good. So Michael, I know for you, you mainland, and so some college trouble. So what kind of woke you up? Tell me a little bit briefly about kind of what you stepped into. Your dream was to play sports.
You guys mentioned like your brother being a little bit smaller. Anthony's like small, whatever. I was always the smallest.
No.
So I never realized I was a bigger person. So my cousins are huge.
Oh, compared to someone bigger.
Yeah, compared to me. So when we used to like mob, go to the mall or go whatever, someone would come and try to step to me. Always the same thing. It's weird because when I came back eventually through life and walking around, I'm like, oh, I actually am kind of a bigger person than the average person. Yeah. Well, I went through my cousins, right, and then I went to UH. So even at UH, I was at the football team. I was a decent sized person, but I never thought I was a big person until after all that. Anyways,
so you felt the same way in the circle you roll with.
Yeah, like why is everybody? I'm like out of all my family, I'm always the one that someone comes and tries to start stuff with.
And I think obviously when you think about bullies, you think about people who have low self-esteem. Obviously, they're not going to go toe to toe with the big guy.
No,
they want to go find the small guy so they can get a win. But if that small guy knows what he's doing, you got another L.
Barking up the wrong tree. Yeah.
So tell me about the college life.
Yeah. So as soon as I graduated, I knew as soon as I was up there, I was like, as soon as I can come back, I'm coming back. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to choose. So I could have went to UH Manoa to play football, but basketball is my first love, my first passion. So I was like, I'm going to go to UH Hilo and play ball over there. And another benefit was it, like what you're saying, is I wanted to get away from everybody. I wanted to be on my own. I have family in Oahu all over, but in Hilo, I didn't know nobody. So I was like, I feel like growing up, that was like the whole concept of college was to get away from comfortability, to step out from being coddled, I guess, or whoever is looking after you.
And to test what you've learned
Yeah.
being underneath the roof of your parents, right?
Yeah, and being stubborn, I was like, I'm going to do it on my own. So thank goodness I knew about FAFSA and all that, because I went over there and
But
took,
none of that.
so went over there, and it was probably the wrong choice, but maybe the right choice, I guess. Like
Wrong pace. It's wrong.
freedom, I was like, I just didn't know how to handle it. I was like, no one's telling me what to do. I get to call all the shots.
Bruh.
Within like the first week, I almost got kicked out of the dorms just because, like, that's free. I thought like I do whatever I want. And they're like, no, you cannot. I'm like, you can't tell me. You know what I mean? So I ended up fumbling that opportunity in Big Island over those. I didn't want to quit after the first year, so I stuck it out for 2 years. Made sure I had in contact with UH Manoa. Would train over there in the summer when I come back visit family, and then was fortunate enough to really. Freedom, man. It's one of those weird things. Like you're saying, those situations where you're putting it was always like, why not? It was never like, let me think about it. Let me process. It was like, nope, let's go. Oh, do you guys want to fight? Let's go.
Sporadic. You you kind of see at that stage of your life you're kind of young and you let your emotions dictate your actions and not really think about what the consequences or how anything could even play out. It's just like once you get past that, I think you matured.
Yeah.
Once you can get past that.
Well, I think it's like one of those things too is naive, right? Like you always have someone to help fall back on or guide you somewhat. But like when you're on your own, not knowing any friends, no parentals, no nothing, it's kind of one of those things like it's trial by fire. It's like, you know, and Hilo's a small town. There was like 1-2 bars back in the day. And then, Hilo's a small community. And they know all the college kids or the outer island kids come down. They can spot you a mile away.
They know.
So it was one of those things that was always seemed to pop off. It was one of those things.
Let's go.
So then you learn very quickly. Oh, dang! I like sports.
I did. I didn't want to. I grew up playing, track, football, basketball, wrestling, growing up, and like, yes, it was fun to go beach on every day or go hiking every day, go, have some drinks with the boys, gamble, whatever. But there was that missing. There's something missing. And it was the, I guess, competition, camaraderie, trying to accomplish something. So yeah, as soon as I came back to football, it was super challenging. I was super fortunate to walk on to UH. And then, I literally went from 2 years off playing football to then playing D1 football on a good team.
Right.
So it was like
That was rare.
I had to catch up real quick.
Right.
And I did. I ended up being the special teams captain my senior year. We did really well. That's the year before the undefeated season. So amazing times, amazing friends, amazing bonds. But it was a steep little climb right there.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot
So
from
you had
it.
to mature pretty fast.
Yeah, it went from like goofing off, doing whatever, to like, oh, you're with the big boys now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a real legit program. It's a legit,
dude.
it's a legit team. It's like,
Yeah.
so it was a steep curve, but I think I always go back and imagine if I would have went to UH Manoa first. Like if I would have played football first, coming straight out of football, going into football, probably good things, but also probably bad things. Like UH, when we were good back then, when I was playing, we had like the key to the city. Like we got away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We got away with a lot of stuff. Yeah. So yes and no, right? It could have been worse.
Right.
So me going and experiencing on my own of trying to find what is right, what is wrong decisions. Imagine if I would have went to UH Manoa when we were really good, and I'm just following the crowd, the big boys, almost like local celebrities, pretty much back then.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it could have been worse.
Right. Right.
But who knows?
Celebs.
But I think too, like, those guys probably had fun, but they had a limit, right? Because the discipline that got them there, I'm sure. No,
There's some yes.
that's what I'm saying.
So they went, you know what I mean?
But there's
Maybe
also
they went.
there's also people that were pretty much local celebrities since high school.
Yeah.
That were kind of not untouchable, but they were like they were just looked upon.
They're known.
They're super known, so it's like just carried through. So you had people who were, I wouldn't say less talented, but you had to work. You had to work for it. And there's other people who are just God-given talent that were just really
Blessed.
good. And then they didn't need to fall in line with every other. There's rules kind of didn't really,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's every team, right? Every team is going to go through that. There's these people who have always been all-stars, who have always been on top of the world. And then you have the young, hungry people who had to grind for it.
Right.
And eventually it somewhat levels off at the top.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the college level, if you're like up there, you're up there. You're living king of the city kind of stuff.
Right. So then you graduated, then you went on your own. So I'll go back to you, but Anthony, so now let's segue into kind of you made a decision and said, you know what, I need to get my life to where I'm rolling with the right people because I don't want to be 50 years old and this lifestyle. And so you're at the markets. I know you worked alongside Michelin star chefs. Tell me that journey and how you got into markets and had a successful business in the markets.
Basically, well, ultimately, when I got kicked out of college, I had no place else to go, so I ended up trying to just ask a couple of my friends, like, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you guys up to? And then one of my friends had a farm in Hugo, Oregon. So I went over there and lived just basically out of my truck for like 6 months. And then once that, I got paid from doing his labor and his farm work. I came back home and I still didn't know what I was going to do. Like go back to go to UH, finish my degree, or go back to the union. That was the last resort I wanted to do, is go back to the union, bro. So my uncle was a executive chef at the time at this Japanese place that was pretty good. Like they're well known, but they're just having money problems because somebody was stealing their money, or another business was taking away some money. But I went to go work for him, and I kind of learned the whole concept behind Japanese cooking. And during that time, my grandma was super sick. Like she had dementia and she didn't know the name. So I was like, bro, I don't want to be like this. So I figured out why people have dementia, like what's the main reason. And basically it was like your diet and your health. And I came to a conclusion, like, bro, I don't want to be doing this. Like, so after that business went bankrupt and my grandma's like health kept deteriorating, I kind of made a pact in myself, like, hey, I got to learn all the different types of cuisines there are and work for the best of the best and the who's of the who's. And I had to be a student of the game. Instead of sports now, I had to take it to another level. I had to take it into really learning and taking a pay cut. I could easily have went back to the union and made like $30-$40 an hour, but I chose to just grind it out and work for $18 an hour at these places that all they do is yell, swear, you have to wash dishes. Like, it's just nonstop hell, basically, like Hell's Kitchen. Yeah. So that whole process led me to working at like Arantino's, Vane, help Todd Humphreys. He's a Michelin star chef that opened up Kitchen Door at the Waikai. And I just took each bit of what I learned and like just put into my knowledge and put into my head and applied it to my own self. And then I had the courage to start a food truck. So that was a pre-market. So I opened up, me and my friend Eric.
Before you move on, so what's crazy and what's awesome that just want to grab out of your little story there is that what was the paradigm shift was, I'm going to take less money because I'm not thinking for now, I'm trying to make money. I'm taking less money because I think the future I'm going to make more. Yeah. I'm going to be better off if I take this position, learning from the OGs, right?
Pretty
Learning
much.
for the guys that are the pros, taking less. And I feel like sometimes in our culture now, people don't want to do that. They want to get paid the best and most, and they haven't even earned to get there.
Or experience.
Yeah. Right. And so that's awesome. Like that is huge to have the discipline to say, nah, dude, I'm going to go back. I'm going to work less, learn from these guys. And that's a sign of entrepreneur, is saying, I'm not short-sighted. I want to make sure my future is good. And so I just wanted to highlight, that's awesome that you did that, because most people these days, they don't. They want the shortcut. They want the microwave. They don't want the grind of working less. I'm working for less money. They want the premium, especially to get out of college. Like, you need to pay me $100,000. Well, what's worth $100,000? Like, yeah, right.
You're worth $100,000. Like, that's what I think to myself. Like, you're worth $100,000, or like this person is worth this amount of money. It's like, my papa said, like, before he passed, he was like, there's only two ways to do things. I think I told you this. There's like, you either do it right or you do it again. So like that plays into my thought process every time I do something. It's like I'm either gonna do it right the first time or I'm gonna have to do it again. And I don't want to be doing this whole learning of all these cuisines again.
Yeah.
I want to take everything, take as much as I can, and then leave, and then make sure that I bring that to this, to this, to this, and then when it came time to open up the food truck, this food truck was entirely made for my grandma. So we were doing like completely plant-based Hawaiian, Asian-inspired local foods. So we opened up our it was a bust because I took out a loan to get a food truck, and then as soon as we started sailing 2 months in, we had like a steady flow of people coming and building up a what is that, a following. COVID happened.
Oh man.
And then boom,
Took everyone out.
took everyone out. Like especially like that stage, like I got all the plugs too on the juice, on the jackfruit that we were making, like our burritos, our tacos, we were doing like Hawaiian like vegan laulaus, patella stew, we were doing all that stuff vegan. And then boom, COVID.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Which
And-
wiped out 40% of businesses here in Valley.
Crazy. And then after that, what's more crazy is like I was stuck with the bill. Like I signed the 12 months for the food truck, only did 2, and I could like how I was gonna do this. Like I didn't have money to like basically do anything. Like food costs, like most of the stuff I was getting was free because we would go to my friend's farm, and then all of a sudden, the farmers market, the farmers markets were still open.
Yeah, how did you find out about that?
It was right by Kaka'ako where I was selling food by the Kaiser Hospital.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In the back. And then I was like, wait. My friend Leilani was telling me, oh, you should check out the market. Like, what's open right now? The market's open right now? It's like, markets are essential. So, boom, I had to be like, boom, I have to get into these markets. This is essential.
Oh, wow.
So I applied. And then at first, I told the lady, hey, we do like vegan Hawaiian food, local favorite fusion, but all plant-based, locally sourced. She told me no. And then she gave me a follow-up call back. Do you do juices? Telling you, I never made a smoothie, made a juice for anybody else besides myself, unless I was cutting weight for wrestling in college. So I just said yes, I got it, and then we can do it. So those next 2 days was the day I was supposed to meet with her at Kailua to do a tasting. I was like, bro, what smoothie am I gonna blend? And then all there was in the pantry was the monobowl ingredients. But at the time, I called it Sky because my cousin Sky was just like irritating me at the time and just was like, bro, you know what, Sky, this is gonna be named after you. So you just here it is. And then it was just the ingredients: the papaya, the pineapple, then it was the apple bananas, the mangoes. It was mango season at the time, and then kale. We always had kale and spirulina, and then we mixed that up. And I was just like, there's no way this is gonna taste good. Boom, drank that. Oh, dog. That thing hit. And then that one was all I had. Like all I had was that, and then watermelon juice, and then jackfruit, turmeric, cacao nibs, and coconut milk. Those 4, I learned those 4 ingredients worked super well because before this, I was helping my friend with another business, and we went to Kohala on the Big Island to help farm or whatever he promised me, whatever we were doing. And these guys that were living on the mountains, all they had was bananas, jackfruit, turmeric, and cacao. That's all they had. And they just ate that, put it in a blender and ate that for breakfast every morning. And I was like, this can't be good. And I remembered that. So I got that and put it into the menu for the market, and then let her try it, and instant, boom. That's how it came to be.
Wow. So it's cool because, everyone got hit in COVID. You really got hit, and you didn't let that stop you. Like you could have said, declare bankrupt or, I suck, I'm gonna go back to your union. But you said, no, I'm gonna keep fighting.
Well, like
I'm gonna find a way.
Public school, I didn't know about bankrupt. I don't know what that was.
You didn't know that tax benefit.
No, I didn't know about that tax. I didn't know nothing. I was
Right.
I just had to keep going.
You kept going. You fight. You said, you know what? I'm not gonna let this take me out. And then you found a way.
Yeah.
You solved the problem, and now you're in the markets.
Pretty much, yeah. And then that's where we're at today. And the whole time, my dad and my mom were just looking at me like, bro, what are you doing? They thought I was crazy. Like, just go be a nurse. And my mom was telling me, be a nurse. I was like, bro, I don't want to be a nurse. Tired of being like this. I don't want to.
You are being a nurse. You're doing it before you're trying to get them to eat healthy
Before, yeah.
So if they stay healthy, they're out of the hospital.
Kind of.
Yeah, you.
Kind of, yeah. Education.
Yeah.
Right? Public school, yeah.
You're trying to offer healthy choices in food so they don't have to go to the doctor.
And that's crazy because I wanted to do that before COVID, and then COVID happened, and I thought it was gonna like be a boom, push. Now everybody's trying to be healthy. Now, like, no, it's still not. I'm just confused nowadays. It's like the trends still overlap what the needs is for your body. It's so crazy. It's so crazy right now.
Yep. Michael, you also went to the markets. So what?
I did.
So psychology, you said you went to school for.
Yeah.
Right, and then you got out, did in union.
Yeah. So then after the construction time of my life, it was a slowdown. We go through ebbs and flows of, high rises, whatever. So we actually got on a break, kind of a long one, like 3 to 6 months. And I was like, well, I'm out of here. I'm collecting unemployment.
Yeah.
Because it's through the union, like a union benefit. Then I came back and I was like, I don't know if I want to do construction anymore. And then I got a call from the same homie that was in Chicago saying he's going to start a business in Australia. And I was like, let's go. Ended up having a business over in Australia, an events company over there. Ended up traveling a lot. And how Anthony's story was how he kind of came to look to the future. I think that was mine. When I got to go to third world countries and see the quality of life, but also like the mindset of some of the people over there, like just to be happy with what they have. No toilet, no drinking water, like everybody in America thinks they're poor. They're not.
No, yeah.
When push comes to shove, you can drink out of your toilet because it's potable water.
Right.
There's people over there, no running water, they have a hole that they have in the ground. You have to wipe your butt with your hand.
Right.
Bro, it's nuts.
You gotta
The left hand. You never shake the left hand.
Remember which one you choose.
But like that's kind of one of those things when I feel like I was so fortunate to see it because I was always, I'll figure out how to make money. I can always go back to the union.
Yeah.
But going over there and, immersing a couple months at a time in some of these countries, I was like, oh man, I'm just thankful to be alive. Like these guys, I don't think I could live like that. If I had to, I could.
Right, but
Do you want to?
No.
it's not gonna be a choice.
So after the selling of the business, came back to Hawaii, just with a different perspective. And I don't know if I was paper chasing. I didn't really, money at that point came like super not important to me just because of what I've seen. And I'm just one of those situations that typically happens is I met up with a good buddy of mine. We went on a hike, had a beer, and then started a company.
Easy.
Yeah, basically that's the story of how, Aloha Salsa was born. He was a fancy chef working at the Ritz-Carlton. Anthony probably knows, you can't, what do you call it when you get away from the menu? Like there's a set menu. You can't go do some fun stuff. You have to follow.
He's not the guy, that's why.
From corporate. So he was like, I'm over it. What do you want to do? I was like, I'll do anything. I don't care. What's missing from the island? It was barbecue or Mexican food. That was the two back then. Cheaper was to get into the Mexican side of it. So yeah, literally started a business. I think went down, and within a month we were at the markets.
Wow.
Without recipes, same. It's like figure it out. Kind of thing.
So you started the market.
Started the market, was there for kind of a decent amount of time. COVID obviously put a damper for a little bit, but the lady made a good push to be like, why are grocery stores open, and why are the markets closed? Because that doesn't make any sense. It's outdoors, it's produce. People need to eat healthy. Yeah. So we got really very lucky that we were able to abide by whatever the rules were back then to space and mask and plexiglass and blah blah blah. And then a lot of the people, I feel kind of bad so before COVID, after COVID, or during COVID, I guess, a lot of the vendors, I don't know if some were scared or someone just couldn't afford to do it anymore, but the number like decreased a lot. Like the market got like super condensed. And and then this guy comes rocking up, and we were neighbors eventually. just because the market, I guess, got smaller and
Yeah,
smaller.
you're right, that's what it was.
But there was a decent amount of people that came and wanted to get out of the house and support and buy local and
Still
all.
busy.
Yeah, it was still
Yeah, it was
busy
busy.
for how many people were vending. And then over a couple weeks seeing each other all the time, started to talk story. And one day he was making some kind of smoothie with a acai, a sorbet inside. And then we got to talking. I was like, well, why does the whole world know what an acai bowl is, right? It's technically a sorbet, acai sorbet bowl topped with whatever,
Sorbet
whatever.
bowl, yeah, it's a
But everybody in the world is like, you tell acai bowl, they know what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
They assume every flavor of sorbet is an acai bowl
Pretty
because
much.
it's synonymous. It's like Kleenex, right? It's like, it's a tissue, but
Yeah.
everybody calls it, can I get a Kleenex? So, I kind of put it out there and he's like, I don't know. I was like, well, what happens? Hawaii has pineapples, mangoes, lychee, all this stuff. Kalo. I was like, if we could do something from this, like sustainable, healthy, it's good enough for our ancestors. Like, why is that? Why can't it be good nowadays? Like health wise, all the benefits. And like, he's like, I can do that. I was like, well, show me. So eventually, I don't know, about 3 months later ish,
Yeah.
roughly,
Yeah.
he was like, I got it. I was like, okay, bring it. And he brought it to the market, had a bite, and I was like, this is it. This is it. We can do this. We can go on.
Wild.
So the market is where I met you, Michael. I was here like in 2018. I met you.
Yes.
Then we finally moved, I think in 2019.
Your sabbatical.
It's my sabbatical. I met you there. And then when I came back, I saw you again. I said, hey, man, I can help you out with marketing. I'm a marketing guy. And then we connected from there. And I think for 2 years, every Friday, we went on a hike.
Yeah.
Whatever hike it was,
Yeah,
we
bro.
went on a hike. It was awesome. And so
There's our meeting.
Yeah, it was our meeting. We talked about everything under the sun.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so we really got to build a good relationship from that. And so over the years, we
Been in touch.
been in
Yeah.
touch, hanging out, right? And then obviously
Jiu-jitsu a little bit.
jiu-jitsu a little bit, right? Oh man, you're
Who's
hard
better?
to beat.
Who's better?
Well, Nogi, bro. He hasn't gotten. He haven't trained
the
with you.
athlete.
I was freaking walk on to UH. I was off for 2 years. Just go play football and walk on. But yeah, we roll a little bit, have fun. But and so then I helped you a little bit with Aloha Salsa here and there. But then you guys connected. And then how I came in the mix is like, hey, I know a guy who does marketing,
Yes.
and he also owns businesses, coffee shop, blah blah. Let's hook him up. He has a heart for Hawaii too,
Yeah.
and really stands for what we stand for too. Because Anthony, you're Kanaka, right? Race is Kanaka, right?
Raised.
Right.
All
Born and raised,
traditions,
Portuguese.
Still get slapped. Still get slapped.
Yeah. And so you had a heart to perpetuate the culture here in Hawaii with food, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, Michael, Polynesian, Samoan, and some other mix. I
All
forgot.
kinds.
Yeah, all kinds. Which we're all right. I'm Puerto Rican, right? There's Puerto Rican.
We're all the same. All the
same.
Browns.
Yeah, all the Browns.
Yeah.
and so you're like, hey, we all stand for the same thing. Let's create a product that will benefit Hawaii sustainability, support local business, support local farmers. Farmers. So tell me a little bit about. So you approach Anthony. You had the heart to say, hey, why don't we? Okay, acai is great, but why don't we make Hawaiian foods in kalo? Tell me more about the kalo and why kalo is a staple food here in Hawaii, and why. Like, I never heard of kalo sorbet. And I love poi, I like pa'iai, the good kind, not the kind you go Waikiki and get this water crap, right? But the really good stuff. And so my kids love it. But now when you said I'm going to make it to sorbet, I'm like, wait, what? So tell me more, like why is it staple food and how you marry them together?
Well, basic knowledge of how the kalo is basically taro, right? It's just a Hawaiian word that we use to say taro. It is kalo. And there's different varieties under the sun that the Hawaiians developed and through tradition got its own like legacy, and it's some people still plant the same variety, like same kalo, like same like you get the same mana, same strain, same huli, like it's legit, but what we're thinking is like just like with the acai berry, kalo is so sustainable. You can use every part of the plant. It purifies the water that eventually goes onto the soil that fertilizes the land that you grow your trees. You can use the leaves. You can use the stems. You can use the root.
And then you replant, and
then
goes
you
back.
replant it, and it just keeps going. You know, there's no like, oh, banana tree, cut it down, boom, there's all this debris, whatever, and then clean it up, and then boom, it goes back. It's a versatile plant, and if you know a lot about kalo, it's the only plant that is hypoallergenic. I don't know if I said that right, but you can give it to a baby straight out of the womb, and you give them kalo, and it's sustenance.
Wow.
They could eat it. They're not going to be allergic. Of course, it has to be cooked and stuff
Right.
like that, but that's what it is. That's what it is. Now you can see like there's baby pouches with poi and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
wow.
me and Mike have already been on it. Like we've been talking about this. Like why not this? Why not that? But the reason behind making a sorbet is because not only is the nutrient content level of kalo very sufficient to give you like the total amount of carbohydrates, but it also enriches you like with your minerals and your vitamins, and it helps like
With inflammation.
with information,
Also,
all that stuff. But it also leaves you a little flavor that you can't really get from any other fruit or any other. You can't really describe it. It's not a sweet potato. It's not a vegetable. It's a root. You know, like really know your roots. That's what I'd come to say. Like when you eat roots, you know your roots. You know what I mean? But honestly,
Get the next tagline, bro.
yeah, eat your roots. Know your roots, basically. Kalo, if there was more priority to have like more lo'is and more kalo farms out there, I think Hawaii would be more sustainable, and that's what it all tied into. Like we get the world to know about this plant. This plant not only will change farmers in the local community, but it also bring out an incentive of what people lack.
Yeah.
They lack that. Like a lot of local people over here, they don't like poi. They don't like poi because it don't taste good, and it don't taste good because the people that make it, they don't really care. They're more careful. They're more like, I guess they're more involved in seeing the profit and how much water.
Trying to make money.
Yeah.
So more water, like
Yeah. So with ours,
15-20% kalo versus being more like 40-50% kalo.
yeah. So like basically with ours, it took me 3 months. Yeah, I would say maybe 3 months, but it took me that long because I went to these people. I went to the well-known poi brand. I went to the middle, like kind of well-known, not really, and I went to these bradas on this side, which I give the people on this side credit. The 44, I give you guys credit. You guys have these small group of guys just do it right. You know, one guy, brother Van, shout out, works at UH, got the Zuckerberg grant, and he kind of set up the stream system for their lo'i. So all the water that drains down is getting filtered correctly, perfectly aligned, getting the right nutrients to the plant. So when you taste it, bruh, you literally you taste the difference.
Yep.
You don't. It's not like you're going into the stores and you're eating something and I needed some sugar. No, you don't need nothing. You can just eat it.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to find that. And when we brought it in, like that taste right there from those ingredients, from basically the aina, like pure aina. That's pure aina. Like the acai berry, pure and pure. I think kalo more superior all day, and that's why we wanted to do it. Because now the berries, it doesn't really help the farmers. It's actually real bad when you import it, when you export it, when there's machines and all these other things that are going into the land and cutting down these trees or going up, and then they're devastating the land basically around the Amazon. But with kalo, it's like get the family out there, get the people out there that want to help and volunteer or want to work, and they're really like feeding the land.
Yeah, it helps the land.
Yeah, and that already, that content of what it is, kalo or the acai bowl, like I pick kalo all day.
Yeah, there's definitely not only a nutritional value from it, but there's a community value. Right.
Community.
And Aina, right? Taking care of that,
Aina,
like you said. And so when we came together, and for me, like obviously I'm Puerto Rican and from Puerto Rico, but because I grew up here, Hawaii never left me. And so I love fighting for the culture here in Hawaii. And so for me, I want to help, preserve the culture. And so when I linked up with both of you, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I think that's so important. And knowing people like Daniel Anthony and some
Yeah.
other guys that Cap over there in North Shore, he's Samoan, but he also loves culture, right? He's
Yeah.
like, hey, bro, let's whatever culture you're from, like fight for your culture. Make sure your kids know your culture, know where you're from. It's so important. And I feel like the mainland misses that, right? Where Polynesians, Latinos, like true Latinos, they try to maintain their culture, and it's a big part of who you are. And so here in Hawaii, the culture is sustainability, taking care of the aina, which take care of the people, which then take care of everything else. And so with Blended Hawaii, the company that we started together,
Yeah.
you had Blended, we just add Hawaii to it, and now we have a brick and mortar in Kailua that we also do in the markets, and we do the brick and mortar in Kailua. The heart behind it is to, number one, get back to the staple food of the benefits of kalo,
Yeah.
and then two, provide a healthy choice when it comes to eating a sorbet that we don't add sugar. It's like fresh. A lot of people say, well, how come in the acai bowl has like it's filled to the top, and then we go over here, you got like 2 scoops. Explain why there's a huge difference with that.
Because honestly 100% is quality. Like I'm dealing, Mikey, and you guys all play a team. We all play a team effort in meeting the people that give us these fruits, these vegetables. Like we have a one-on-one personal connection. We shake their hand.
Close network. Yeah.
Yeah, it's legit. We're not like going to the store picking up stuff and that's it. The quality of our of the bowls is hands down. There's no water, there's no ice, there's no fillers. It's just 100% what it is. Like if there's pineapple, there's no concentrate juice or whatever. It's what it is, and it takes us like a process to get the most sweetness out of something, rather than just like adding sugar.
Yeah.
So we let everything age. We let everything like kind of almost rot before we start to just cut it and freeze it and do what we do, because you want the most out of your ingredients. You don't want to just have something and not be its 100%, like an athlete, right? Like
Right.
if you have an athlete that's not 100%, then what are you doing on the field?
Yeah.
Right? Like why are we putting an ingredient into our product when it's not 100%?
And I think you can taste it too, right? You can try to do what we do, but if you cut corners with canned pineapple or this or that or adding sugar, you're going to taste it. It's going to taste like, going to somewhere where there's like a soft serve ice cream or something
Right.
like that. It's just going to taste, I wouldn't say manufactured, but you're gonna taste it. You're gonna taste the sugar, the added whatever sweetener, even if it's the fake sugar, whatever it is,
Right.
stevia. You'll be able to taste it.
You'll taste it and you'll feel it.
Yeah, you'll feel
Where
it.
if you have a bowl from us, I hear all the time, I don't feel this
clean.
It's a clean.
clean.
You feel light still. You don't feel like you just like, oh, my stomach is heavy, and you don't have some aftermath like, sugar high kind of crash.
Oh yeah, the
right?
crash is
Yeah, and that's the difference. And so, where the acai bowls that we get in these, local businesses or whatever, nothing to knock it, but the difference in quality is like it's water, it's all this other stuff that could have. Where our bowls are going to have the purity of the fruit in there.
Yeah.
And there's a science. I remember you walked us through how to do it all. I'm like, bro, this is like Einstein like stuff in behind
In a bowl
the bowl
that they don't
right?
see.
That they don't see.
Yeah.
And that's why our scoops is a scoop, right? And the fruits and all that's a balance in the granola, and
Layering.
the layering, like all of that. Tell me more about that. Like people don't realize like it's just not here's 2 scoops of some fruit, but there's actually some science behind that.
Yeah, it's so with what we have is like it's art, Like I see when you give somebody a product, I wouldn't feel comfortable having them pay for something and giving them a bad product, Like I don't know if they saved up all their money or like boom. Because when I used to work at fine dining restaurants, like I would see families that look local all the time and we're goofing off in the back, and I'm like, bro, that's not right. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to give somebody a product if they use all their money they saved up or whatever, and then they got this junk product.
Yeah.
So everything is like you're gonna hit all the nodes. You're gonna hit the bitterness. You're gonna hit the sweetness. You're gonna even get the umami. You're gonna get your savory and your sweet. Like it's all gonna be well balanced, because that's how I think when you get something and when you want to eat for sustenance and to be sustainable, you have to really taste the balance.
Yeah.
Like balance is key. Like you can oversweet of something will like make you not want to eat it some more when you don't want to eat anything sweet throughout the whole day. But if you have a balanced bowl, man, that's gonna keep your senses, your energy aligned throughout the whole day. Because a little bit of too much, like too much salt can kill you, right? But a little bit of everything, man, I think it'll help your body.
Yeah.
It
And
helps
so
your body out.
the combination of all the stuff that we do, and even how we pour the granola in the bottom and how we put the granola on top,
Oh yeah,
it's all
it's a science.
right.
It's a science, and when you get it, you'll know. Like the granola on the bottom is so like the heat from your hands when you hold our bowl is not gonna go directly to the sorbet, but it's gonna give you a couple more minutes so you can actually take your time and actually work towards the bottom. And bro, when you eat sorbet with granola and it's wet, bro, it's like wet cereal. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's like
It's delicious.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about the acai stuff and the other stuff at other places is like it's all like it melts too fast,
Yeah.
and and we're
Well, it's already melted, right? It's a
well,
smoothie bowl.
right, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
they say.
right. And for with us stuff, like I said, it allows you to experience different parts as you eat it. And really, it's not also, we can say all day long how awesome it is, but even people are telling us, man, I've never had this before. Like, wow, wait, Kahlo sorbet, what is
Yeah.
that? And they're like, oh my gosh, this is good. Do you find that? I feel like Kahlo is like the most sold bowl that we have.
It is.
It's like everyone comes for the Kahlo, and which it's what's cool about it is that you guys had in your mind, hey, let's go back to our staple foods,
Yeah.
right? And let's make this good. Not that it wasn't good; it's just a different way, right? We eat poi. I like eating it. My kids love paella and all that, but let's make it to dessert that's healthy.
Yeah.
I think it reaches a broader market or client base because, like, you talk to most local people, you got the uncles, they'll have the poi every 2 weeks or week.
Yeah, so they put on the ice cream.
Yeah,
Like,
but then over you have like most people, I would say local people do not eat poi every day, every week.
Right.
This is just a way to introduce it differently because we have aunties come to the people come all is it sour, is it this,
Right.
you know what I mean, that's questions because of their previous experiences,
Right.
and their only experiences with at a luau or at
Right.
something, they you know what I mean, so it's just something to, I guess, show it. You can have Kahlo taro in a different way. There's many forms that you can do it with, and this is just a way to introduce it. And then eventually we have a checklist, or not a checklist, but some hidden gems to introduce it as well in a different way that most people haven't had taro or Kahlo in.
yeah.
And that's the response that we get. Like you said, it's like it was sour, it was water, but when I had this, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this.
No.
And so they have a great experience, and that's why they keep coming back. I know some of my friends are diabetic; they love it because it's actually good for them. They can have this nice, healthy sorbet that's not super sugary.
Doesn't spike their
Right, exactly their insulin levels, and so it's a very good, healthy choice. And obviously, we don't just do Kahlo; we do mango, we do seasonal fruits, and really, to segue into the farmers is to obviously support our local farmers.
That's it,
right? And with that, it helps put food on their table, right? And so it helps us being a brick and mortar providing for community, but it also helps the local farmers.
Yeah.
And also you can tell them, like, where do you get it from? Oh, it's from so and so. So maybe they're in the market and they can go check them out because they're supporting them through us. You know what I mean? It's like almost circular.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what it is, man. Like, it's just like, it's not right that we have to keep sending off the people that grew up here because they can't afford it, just because it's cheaper to outsource, But if you really look at it, it's actually cheaper to source locally.
Yeah.
It's way cheaper.
Yeah.
Like, if people just really, 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 really wanted to do it, rather than just caving in and giving in to like whatever the government or whatever people say or whatever, it's just like, it's cheaper to get it from the auntie that has a farm right there. If you just talk to her, it's cheaper if you get this from this auntie or this uncle if you just talk to them.
Yeah.
It's all about if you ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't ask, you'll not receive, and that's why you keep doing the same thing over and over and try to import stuff that is not supposed to be here.
Well, even like, I feel like we obviously we live on the island where it's always it's always growing great stuff. And so, I mean, what was it, last year? A friend of ours had an ulu tree and she had plenty.
See?
And I was like, oh, what are you going to do with all these ulus? She goes, oh, well, Simone guy comes and grabs some, but go ahead, take some.
Yeah.
And I'm up there, climbing, getting fresh ulu from
Think about this.
from the land.
I just thought too, like, I got a couple of friends that still live in Waianae. Brought a boy, got to fight this week. Yeah. But if you look at all the trees that have fruits on them, and you see all the fruits that have dropped
Yeah.
on the floor.
Yeah.
Don't you think that if that household were to sell those fruits instead of having it go to waste, that money and that specific like income that they could have used would circulate Hawaii?
Oh, yeah.
And make Hawaii.
100%.
It's just like, but they're lazy, they're not.
Well, a lot of them are older too. A lot of the older houses.
True too, right?
Yeah, but find some freaking young guy. Hey, come pick these things.
Or even like the hustlers that you guys trying to hustle, like don't be stealing, don't be robbing. Go pick the mango. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Auntie, pick the mango, clean your yard, because like if for me, like that's money.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, and I never even thought about that. And I feel like what is kind of this roadblock for them is like, oh, now I gotta go to the market and I gotta sell it. No. What you do is say, look, I can give you this much mango or whatever.
Yeah.
And let's just say, I don't know what the prices are, but let's just say, the farmers will buy it from you for 50 cents. Well, that's 50 cents each one, or $1.
Yeah.
Right? And then they go sell it for $3 or $4. Doesn't matter. But at least you made $1 a mango.
And it's not going to waste.
And it's not going to waste. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
I just get so sick, bro. I see like all these houses that have the best mangoes, bro.
Oh, right.
On the ground, I'm just like, that's $1. That's $1. We could, like Hawaii could have been, well, like our taxes could have been paid or something. You know? The rail could have been paid with just the mangoes falling from the tree.
Right.
But it's like either like people are lazy, like I said, or not educated, and I hope like people would start to learn like, hey, mango is money. M&M, that's money.
Yeah, forget a can for 5 cents. That's like $1. That's $1 mango.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this podcast,
yeah,
and you got a tree, let us know.
Let us
We'll get
know.
it.
We'll write you a check.
I actually had an idea like 4 or 5 years ago. It was an app.
Oh wow.
Oh, for giving away.
Yeah, so no, you just have an app. You say, hey, my tree is starting to fruit. You set a time.
Yeah.
You come scoop all, give them a little, barato or whatever, and you go. So there's no waste. But then you have, so like I said, it's a lot of older people that own these homes because Hawaii is expensive.
Yeah.
So it's either passed down through generation or the old people are still living at home and they don't know how to access their phone. They don't want the kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want people on my property who's these random people picking. So there's a lot more to it. But yeah, I thought about this like 5 years ago.
That's brilliant.
But like I said, it's going to take community outreach or like old school news outlet to reach these people to get them on board.
Yeah, or it's just like a
or
kid like me
doors.
knocking on the door.
Knocking
I
on
just
doors.
knock on the door and be like, hey, are you going to use all this mango? And they're looking at me like, oh, this kid must be desperate. Not knowing that we have a business, you know, and then I tell them about it and I tell them, hey, just come by the shop. And then that's how it is. Like, I don't want to waste what the land, what the Aina has made fruitful. Like,
It's just stewards that we do.
Yeah, we're stewards, right? Like, we're supposed to be stewards of the land.
Yeah.
But we're not if we just let it go by like that.
And then we'd rather go buy strawberries and blueberries
From
That's
Costco.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, mango could be cheap, but it just falling.
Yeah. So as we come to a close, I want to talk about blended Hawaii, right? And so in the meaning of like what is our saying and what do we stand and what is that saying stands by? But before that, I just want to say how awesome, two local boys, right? Obviously deal with life. Everyone has crap that we have to deal with in life. Decided to say, you know what, I'm going to live a little different, right? I don't want to live the way I used to live or whatever. And then now you guys have a brick and mortar. Hopefully we open up another one if this one's successful, and which just seems like we're getting there, right? We're open for 5 months. And I feel like
almost,
the word's getting out. And thank you for all the social media guys out there, the influencers that are helping spread the word. Mahalos, right? Thank you so much. But, we have a goal to get this bigger, to spread the love of this. So what's the heart behind our saying? What is our saying? What's the heart behind it?
It's part of the Olelo Noeao. It's like a proverb, Hawaiian proverb.
So the one that resonated with me that when we were first trying to figure out like Hawaii blended blended Hawaii sounds nice, but like Olelo Noeao. So going back to the kalo, which has been around forever for the local people, I thought it was fitting to have a saying that's been around forever.
Right.
The land is chief, man is its servant. Land has no need for man, but man needs the land and works it for a livelihood. Mm-hmm. So as you can tell through our stories, like knocking on doors for produce or working hand in hand with farmers, going to the lo'i. I feel
Got to put in the work.
gotta put in the work because
Yeah, you got to put in the work.
going to Costco is somewhat sustainable until the ships shut down.
Yep.
But if we have, for 1 in every 10 people, if they can go somewhat do some time on some land, go help set up a lo'i, reach out to local mayor, whatever it is, try to get some funding for these people who are hustling,
Yeah.
working the land and doing what they can. I feel like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh yeah.
More lo'i, more farm, more trees, more fruit, less cost for local people.
One, like, it helped, like, with the younger generation, too. Like, me and Blake were talking about, like, kids now, like, the younger generation nowadays, I'm young, but the younger generation nowadays, they don't know how to be bored. They don't know how to, like, be self-aware of what is around you besides looking at the phone. So, like, if you have a moment to just, like, walk down the street and just look at all the trees growing and look at like the surroundings, you could identify, oh, that's a mango tree, oh, that's a ulu tree, oh,
Avocado.
that's a guava tree. Like, yeah, and you could identify the seasons, and that enriches your senses, as a human being, we need our senses to be like broadened,
Right.
and the younger generation, they're lacking. That's why there's a lot of anxiety, depression, all these clinically diagnosed like
Because they're
diseases
connected
now.
to their phones rather than connected to the island.
Yeah, it's like, bro, just go outside, look at boom, and then let me know when it's ready, and I'll come over there, and then we got a deal. We shake hands, boom.
Yeah.
Like, that's what helped me out. Like, if I had a rough time in school or whatever, or my parents or my friends, like, I'll just take a walk down the block and then just look at the trees, and if thing had fruit, I'll eat them, and I'm just like, oh, thing is mean. Yeah, and then that's how you develop your taste, your flavor, what you like. Oh, this house right there, this house get the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just compare with other friends, and that gets you a topic. No, it's like, what you guys gonna talk about? Just like, oh, this guy get the board shorts. Like, what? I don't even know what they talk about nowadays. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's bizarre these days. And so, each of you are going to ask you this last question. What would you say to the person that is 20, 25, 30, or even, 40, who's like, man, like, what would you tell them on, like, you guys overcome a path that you probably didn't want to go? So what would you tell them if a 20-year-old that says, hey, man, like, I had circumstances I had to deal with, what would you tell them to say, hey, stay the course?
I got this first.
Oh, man.
There's no get rich schemes out there.
No
None.
quick rich schemes?
There's no get rich.
Yeah,
There's no. I'm an overnight celebrity. I'm a fitness model. No, you're not. You got to put in work. Like, yes, everybody wants the glitz and the glam and wants to be like, oh, look at, I got all this, but you can move in the shadows. You can grind. Like you said, you can go find 10 houses that have fruit trees,
Can't always hustle. Like,
and you can make it somewhat. It's gonna be hard. Hawaii's expensive. You're gonna need multiple sources of income, but a little hustle, 5 trees every season.
easy, $100.
That's money on money on money that can make you money.
So you're saying, hey, guys, look, you got to hustle. You got to work hard. It's like
You
less.
either have a career,
Right.
a union, a trade, if you want to give back, teaching, whatever it is. Most people aren't going to be professional surfers. Most people aren't going to be these tech millionaires, football players. You're going to have a real job.
Yeah.
And the quicker or the sooner you realize that, I think it's beneficial. You start stacking paper. You maybe get a loan for a house or a rental property.
Learn
or you
all that.
Do some stuff. Coffee's trendy.
Okay.
Go figure out. Go to Big Island. Go stay at a coffee farm for 3 months. Learn how to work the land and figure that side out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Love it.
chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate's a very hard thing to do,
You're right.
but if you can do it, it's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
You got to pick it. You got to clean it. You got to dry it. You got to.
It's a process. Everything is a process.
Everything's a
bro.
process.
Yeah.
But there's tons of avenues to make revenue.
Yeah.
That's good. How about you, Ant?
I would just say, like, humility gotta go. Like, if you're 20 years old and you think you know it, humility gotta go out the door. Like, for you to be successful in this world, especially with social media now, like, you cannot be afraid. You cannot have too much pride. You have to really just, like, let everything go bad. And if you fail, you fail. But you gotta learn how to just, like, figure it out at the end of the day. It's all on you. You can't be, unless you have mommy and daddy, but, like, you can't be, like, always having a safety net. You got to figure out how to get yourself out of a situation, and just stay humble when you do. Because if not, then you're just gonna be back to the same cycle.
Yeah.
All right, let me piggyback real fast. There's also when certain things happen in your life,
Yeah.
it's not like poor me. It's more of like, how did I get?
Yeah, how did I get here?
there?
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
I get
How
there?
did I
What
get
can I
here?
learn from it? Not like, oh, the world hates me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't
Like,
be a victim.
just learn from it. It's a learning lesson. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Hopefully,
Well, you're still alive.
still alive.
Yeah.
So, learn from it. Don't reflect, I guess. Just reflect a little bit. Don't whine to your friends about it. Be like,
Yeah.
so let me go walk through. How did I get there? Why did this happen?
Oh,
Okay.
it's from J Boy.
Right.
J Boy is the one that got me into this, man.
It was like Anthony, right?
That's what I'm
COVID
saying.
hit.
Yeah.
He could have said, oh, poor me.
Yeah.
He says, no, let's go to the markets. Can you make sort of
Sure.
smoothies? Yes.
Yeah.
We call that fake it till you make it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, bro. Like that's what it is.
That's what I did bartending in Chicago. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Poor beers.
On YouTube. Right.
Yeah.
But, and so what you're saying is, what I hear from both of you, one lesson that I learned being an entrepreneur, is don't pay for that tuition again. Learn the mistake.
Yeah.
Right. And
Unless you're a hard head. Some people need 2, 3 lessons.
times.
Yeah,
Right,
one
right.
time, 10 times.
One time.
yeah,
one time.
but learn, right? And if you learn, it's not a failure. It's
No.
just one step closer to where you're going.
Failing is quitting.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Right.
Failing.
Quitting and not learning. Right.
And just learn, yeah. Just
Yeah.
keep learning. If you're not learning, then you're not living. If you're not, if you're not learning,
All
then why you
kinds of
living?
shirts we can make.
You're
Bumper
living.
stickers,
If you're
shirts.
not learning, why are you living?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, know your
living.
roots.
Well, it's in fighting, right? Mixed martial arts is
Oh,
like
yeah.
when I lose, I don't lose. When someone chokes me out or arm bar, like, okay, I learn not to put my arm there. Or I learn not to be in that
Or
position.
stack and pass. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So awesome. Well, man, guys, thank you so much. It was fun. I know we joke around and make fun of each other all the time, and it's been great. I just felt like wanting to highlight the local brothers who lived here, right, and went through the system of just life. Life hits, and you guys not allow it to be victimized, right? You said, you know what, it is what it is. But you guys overcame, and now you're entrepreneurs, right? We linked arms. Now we're starting this business. Hopefully, Milani might be the next spot. I don't
We're
know.
not
We'll
done
see.
yet. Yeah, we're not done yet.
Yeah, but we're still in the
Some
journey.
secrets, yeah.
Yeah, we're still in the journey, right? We're not saying we arrived, but we can learn from each other from the stories. And so thank you so much for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mahalo for tuning in. Thank you so much. Share this, guys. You don't know who can watch this and be inspired by these stories. And that's the point, right? Is to highlight people in our communities who are making change, who are actually adding value to the community. And it's important for people to be inspired because you don't know what someone's going through. And they might need to hear this story. So please share this information. Thank you so much for watching. Aloha.